Hello everyone and welcome to the RStudio tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to learn about RStudio desktop version, the cloud version. We will perform some basic mathematical operation in R. We will learn how to use libraries and we will do a little bit of data processing in R. So let's start. So first of all, in order to download RStudio in Google, just type RStudio and open the first link. Then go to download, click on download, and RStudio it is completely free. So and the size of RStudio is near like 170 MB. So this way you can download RStudio in your desktop. And for using the cloud version, go to products and then click RStudio cloud. And as I have already logged in, so but in order to create a fresh account, click over here, get started for free. Then enter your credential like your name, your email ID, and let me show you the desktop version of R. After installing R, you will see something like this. It will open in this manner with 4 tiles. So this panel over here in the left upper corner, uh, this is the place where you will write your script. This is the console where you can run your script in real time. And this is the environment where every variable and whatever you generate during your script, it will pop up in your environment screen over here. And this will help you to navigate where's your files, where your working directory. It will help you to install different packages, also the help section. In a minute I will show you how to do that. So let's start with the basics of RStudio. So as we know, the hello world is the holy mantra for beginning any programming. So let's start with the hello world in RStudio. So it's very simple. Just write command print, then open parenthesis, followed by the single quote, and write hello world. And to run any script, you can click over here, and you can also use your keyboard, use control plus enter to run that line of script. So hit control plus enter. You can see in your console hello world is printed, or you can say like hello DSL 810, hit enter, hello DSL 810. It's very simple as that. Just write command print followed by the open parenthesis and then single quote and whatever is the statement. Okay, to clean the console screen, this is screen. If you want to clean this screen, then the two ways. You can click over this broom button. Okay, it will clear your console, or you can also like print type control plus L. It will also clean your console. Then environment, if there is something in environment, okay, in a bit I will show you how to clean environment. So first of all, let me assign something to X. Here's the way how we begin any programming. So I am assigning, this is the way of assigning something to any variable. Like to assign value of 10 to X, we will write X, then less than sign, then minus sign, followed by 10. So basically this is the sign of an arrow, and as we can see, this arrow indicates from this integer 10 towards the X. So this value of 10 will be stored in X. This is the basic meaning of this sign. Okay, you can also use the equal to sign, like y equal to 10, both can be used, but in RStudio we should use this arrow sign for assigning anything instead of equal to. If you want to more information about this, then you can follow this link I was given over here. so it's not a big deal, but I will recommend you to use this arrow sign then minus sign to assign anything. Okay, going to the next. So here I am assigning this value integer 1 to x. Very simple. X, then arrow sign, then minus sign, then 1. Hit enter. You can see in environment x is assigned 1, and to assign value 2 to y, just hit control enter. You can see in environment y is assigned value of 2. Now we are creating another variable z, and z is equal to x plus y. So hit control plus enter. So as you can see, x is 1, y is 2, so our z is equal to 3. Watch. Okay, and the beauty of RStudio is you can also assign complex number directly now. So let me show you. If I type z is equal to 2 plus 3i, that's it, and hit control plus enter. So you can see in the environment there is a new variable z, and z is assigned a value of 2 plus 3i, and whenever I print z, very simple, uh, print in parentheses type z, hit enter. So you can see in console z is equal to 2 plus 3i. And if you want to check what is the type of your variable, so like we can see x, we have assigned value of 1 to x and 2 to y, and z is assigned a complex number. So now type, there is a command to check the type of variable, type of. So enter type of, then in parentheses x, because we want to check what is the type of x. Simple. So x is double, the type of y is double, and type of z, this is a complex number. Okay, we can also assign logical value to variables. So very simple again, then directly you can just type x is equal to false, capital F A L S E, that's it. Hit enter. Now you can see this x is equal to 1, it will change to x is equal to false. Let me hit enter. As you can see, x is assigned false over here. And if you want to check what is the type of x, simply control plus enter. As you can see in your console, the type of x is logical. Okay, now we will perform some basic mathematical operation. So let me clean my console. As I said again, you can use control plus L to clean, or you can also click over this broom to clean your console. And in order to clean your environment, you can click over here on this broom, then click on yes, and here we go. Our console and environment is empty. Now let me assign x is equal to 1, so x then less than sign, minus sign, then 1. So we are assigning x value of 1, and as you can see, this arrow sign is indicating from 1 to x, so x will be equal to 1. And if you write in this way, like 1 then minus arrow sign then x, again you can see this arrow sign is pointed towards x, so it will take value of whatever in the back side of arrow and assign that value to uh, in the direction of the arrow. So again it's the same thing, x will be assigned value of 1, and here we have assigned value of 2 to y, and z is equal to 3. So you can check in your environment, x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, and y is equal to 3. So x plus y, very simple, is equal to 3. You can check in your console, x minus y minus 1, x into y is equal to 2, and y divided by z, y is equal to 2 and z is equal to 3. So 2 divided by 3, so it will be 0.666. It's very fairly simple, straightforward. There is another operator called a modulo operator. It will give you remainder. Let me show you. Z is equal to, as you can see, is 3 and y is 2. So if you divide z by y, it will give you 1.5. Okay, but if you want what is the remainder, then you can use this percentage sign 2 times, z percentage y, it will give you remainder. Let me just run this command. As you can see, the remainder is equal to 1. Now again, let me show you. So if I type 7 divided by 7 divided by 3, so it will give you simply 2.33, and 7 modulo 3, so the remainder of 7 divided by 3, it will be 1. It's fairly simple, and it's very handy if you want to check whether integer is odd or even. And if you want to check what is the integral part of the quotient, then there is a command 7 percentage followed by forward slash, then percentage sign, then for example 3. It will give you the integral part of quotient. As we know, 7 divided by 3 is 2.33, so integral part will be 2. So let me run this 7 percentage forward slash percentage 3, so you will get 2. Okay, the integral part of quotient. Now there is a way we can assign multiple variables at a time. It's fairly simple again. So we are assigned a value of 10 to C, and the value of C is passed over to B and A. So let me just clean this console. As I said again, use Control plus L, and use this Chrome to clean this environment. Sorry. Now let me just hit enter, Control enter. As you can see, we have assigned A, B, C simultaneously, and the value of A, B, C is equal to 10. Now, how to use exponential? It's very simple and very similar. Okay, so we need to use the aesthetic sign. So 2 aesthetic sign, or you can say multiply. So 2 multiple sign 2 times 4, so it's 2 to the power 4 basically. So it will give you 2 to the power 16. As you can see in console, the value is 16. Okay, or there is another way. You can also use the caret sign. Okay, so 2 caret 4 is equal to, again, the exponential 2 to the power 4. It's 16. And using and or is very, again, sign is straightforward. This fill is this stands for and this vertical bar stands for or. Now how to generate the sequence in RStudio again. So again, it's very simple. So all you need to do is give it the initial point of your sequence and ending of your sequence. Okay, separated by the colon. So 1 colon 10. So it will create a sequence starting from 1 and all the way to 10, and they will and the different with the difference of 1. So let me run this command. 1 colon 10. As you can see in environment, x is equal to 1 to 10, 1 to 10. Okay, separated by 1. This is a by default value. Okay, and if I multiply this sequence by 2, so obviously, so each of the digit will be multiplied by 2. So let me run this command. It will be 2, 4, 6 till 20. As you can see, there is another way to generate a sequence. Just write sequence and in parentheses the limit, the last number of the sequence. In my case, the last number is 10, and by default it will take 1 as the initial point. So let me run this. As you can see, x is equal to 1 to 10. Now there is another way to generate a sequence. Write command sequence seq in parentheses the initiation point and the ending point. Hit Control Enter. Again the same thing. Okay, and if you want a sequence that is separated by the specific value, then there is a command seq, then initial point, ending point, and what is the separation between them. So suppose my separation, the values are separated by 2. So let me hit enter. So as you can see, it will start from 1, then separated by 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Then again separate 2. Next digit, so next digit will be 3 plus 2, 5, and next digit will be 7, then 9. Or obviously the last digit is 10, but 10 won't be included, okay, because of the condition. And another way of writing it, you can include by. So it's almost similar. This command and this command is almost similar, okay. And if you want to create a sequence having equidistant point, okay, then you can use this command. Write seq, in parentheses the initiation point and ending point, and how many equidistant point you want between these 2 points. So suppose we want to have 5 equidistant point, then after a comma write the length is equal to 5. Let me show you, okay. So it will start from 1, then 3.25, then 5.5, then 7.75, then 10. So we have 5 digits and they are equidistant point, okay. And suppose you want to create 20 equidistant point between 1 to 10, then command sec in parentheses 1 comma 10, the initiation point and the ending point, and length is equal to 20. Hit control enter. As you can see, 1, 1.47, 1.49. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, you will just type x, control enter, and you will see all the values between 1 to 10. Okay, 1, 1.47, 1.94, 2.42 till 10. Okay, there is another command in R, that is replicating. If you want to replicate a specific item in a specific number of times, that's very simple. Let me show you. Uh, First of all, let me assign 2. Let me assign value of 2 to x. Okay. Then I want to replicate x 10 times. Okay. So the command is rep, R-E-P, in parentheses x. Okay. The entity you want to replicate, and then comma, and then number of times you want to replicate that item. For suppose I want to replicate x 10 times, so rep, then x, then times is equal to 10. Let me enter. As you can see, 2 is replicated 10 times. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay. And here we are assigning this sequence, okay, to y. Very simple. So we replicated x 4 times and that sequence is assigned to y. So as you can see in environment there is no y, but when I run this command, we have a sequence. It contains 2 4 times, and the variable is y. Okay. Now how to use if else statement in R. So very similar to what we do in C. Okay, all you need to do is to int if, then your condition in parentheses, okay, then in between the braces type your statement. Okay, for example, I have taken the condition is 10 greater than 5, so obviously 10 is greater than 5, so my condition is true, so it will print hello corona. So we are not supposed to say hello corona, but just for hello corona. Okay, and to use if else statement, uh, just type if else, then in parentheses the condition followed by the braces and the statement. Okay, and if you want to use if else statement in a single line, there is a way in R. Type if else, then the condition, then if the condition is true, and then if condition is false. Let me show you how we should do it. So first of all, what we did, we assigned value of 7 to x. Now if else, and if x modulo 2 is equal to 0, then if the condition is true, then it will print even, and if the condition is false, then it will print odd. And we know that 7 is an odd number, so x modulo 2 won't be equal to 0, so it will be odd. Let me run this command. As you can see, we are getting odd as our result. And how to use or for condition. So type 4, then your condition, and followed by your statement. Fairly simple. As you can see, I just created 1 2 3 4 5 using for command, and using while. As I said, these are very similar to what we use in C. Okay, so we assigned value of 1 to x, then this is then while condition, then our statement, then our progression. So the condition is if x less than 10 and the value of x is 1, so 1 less than 10, so obviously it is true condition, so it will print x, then again x will be equal to x plus 1, so now x will be having value of 2, then it will check 2 less than 10, again it is true, so it will print 2, it will keep repeating itself until it satisfies the condition. So let me run this command. It will print x ranging from 1 2 3 till 9, and this is the way how to use repeat and break in RStudio. So again let me assign value of 1 to x, then repeat in curly braces the statement print x, and if the statement, then break x is equal to x plus 1. And how to create function in RStudio? Very simple. So it will start with your function name, whatever name you want to give to your function, then command function, and followed by your parameters, parameter 1, parameter 2, uh, close parenthesis, then curly braces, uh, then your function definition, then the return type. Okay. Okay, you may return or not return depending upon your requirement. For my case, I'm returning result. Okay, so let me show you my function. My customized function is function underscore name. So let me run this function. So as you can see in my environment, a new row appeared named function. So these are, as you can see, these are the values. Okay, A has been assigned value of 10, B has been assigned value of 10, C has been assigned value of 10, then I, then X, then Y. Okay, and now we have created a function, then function underscore name. It is having a 2 parameters, and the return type is result, and result is equal to parameter 1 plus parameter 2. So now we are passing parameter 1 as 10 and parameter 2 as 20. So what it will do, it will give, it will return result, and result is equal to parameter 1 plus 2, so it will return 30. Okay, and you can also create a function which will be returning multiple values. So what you need to do, so when to start with the function name, I have kept the function name is equal to fun1 is equal to function, and the parameter 1 is x, and parameter second parameter is y. Now there is another variable a, and a is equal to x plus y, b is equal to x to the power x to the power y, or x exponential y, then c is equal to x divided y, and d is equal to x modulo y. Okay, and now we want to return all the four values. Okay, so then what we need to do, so we will return result, and result is equal to a list because it contains four values. So we will create a list. Result is equal to list, then sum is equal to a, then mult is equal to b, and div is equal to c, and remainder is equal to d. And when you return result, then it will return value of a as sum, and it will return b as a value as a mult, it will return c as div, and it will return d as rem. So let me show you. First of all, let me run this function. So as you can see, in the environment, a new function appeared by function1, and we can see it has two parameters, x and y. So let me just pass, let me show you an example by passing 10 and 3. So fun1, parameter 1 is 10, parameter 2 is 3. Let me run this. So it will return summation, multiplication, division, and remainder. So 10 plus 3, 10 to the power 3, 10 divided by 3, and 10 modulo 3. Okay, and you can also create inline function in R. It's very simple again. So the function name is equal to command function, then in parentheses your parameters, and then the statement. So let me run this. Then let me show an example. Some parameters are 2 and 3. So oops, we got an error, object x not found. So as you can see here, in my parameters, this one is a small x. Okay, and in my function definition, this is capital X, that's why it's not running. So let me convert this one to small x. Now again, let me save this function, and now let me run this. Boom. So we have sum 2 comma 3 is equal to 5. Now how to create vectors in R. So first of all, how to assign an integer to x. Very simple, x, then pointed arrow sign, or you can say less than arrow sign, then minus, then 10. It will assign x is equal to 10. Now moving to the next topic, how to retrieve element from a vector. So I want to retrieve the first and fourth element from the vector z. So how to do that? So we start with g, then bracket, c, concatenate, then open parenthesis, then first and fourth, close parenthesis, then close bracket. So this way we can retrieve first and fourth element from a vector. Let me show you. As you can see, the first element of z vector was 1 and the fourth element was false. So you can see 1 and false in your console. Okay, and now how to check any value inside a vector. Again, very simple command. So let me create a vector x containing digits from 1 to 10, and I want to check whether there is 5 in x vector or not. So this command 5 percentage in percentage and in which vector x. So we are looking for 5 in vector x. Let me hit Control Enter. As you can see in your console, we got true. So there is 5 in the vector x. Okay. So now how to create a matrix? Again, one thing you can do, you can create multiple vectors and arrange them, and in another way you can construct a matrix. Let me show you how to do that. So I want to create a matrix x, so x, then arrow sign, minus sign, followed by command matrix, then in parentheses concatenate, let's see, then again parentheses 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, close parentheses, close parentheses. Okay, one thing that you need to remember is in RStudio, a matrix will be constructed column wise. Okay, let me show you how. When I hit enter, okay, so let me show you. As you can see, these elements 1 2 3 4 5 till 9, you can see them in column wise. Okay, so if you want to create a matrix row wise, there's a command by row. By default, the by row is false. So if you want to create a matrix row wise, then you need to enter by row true. Okay, let me show you. First of all, let me create a matrix having 3 row and 3 column. So command is X, then followed by the arrow sign, minus, then the command matrix in open parentheses, C, then open parentheses, the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 9. Then n row stands for number of rows. For now, number of rows is equal to 3 and number of column for now is 3. So n row is 3, n column is 3. So let me hit enter. So as you can see in the console, so we just created a matrix X having 3 rows and 3 column, and you can see the elements are distributed column wise. So 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6. You can see 1, 2, 3 in a single column, 4, 5, 6 in another column, and 7, 8, 9 in another column. So elements are distributed column wise. Now let me show you how to distribute element in row wise. Okay, so one extra command you need to add, that is by row, and by row is equal to 2. So again, uh, earlier things are same, X followed by arrow sign minus, then matrix, because we want to create matrix. Inside matrix in open parentheses C, then elements of matrix, and number of row 3, number of column 3, and by row will be true. Okay, let me show you. Now you can see the elements are distributed row wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now if I want to create a matrix having 3 row 3 column and each cell value is equal to 4, then a very simple command X followed by the command matrix, then 4 3 3. So let me explain. This 4 stands for the element which will be repeated throughout the matrix, and 3 stands for number of rows, and the next 3 stands for number of columns. Okay, so let me show you. As you can see, the X matrix is having 3 rows and 3 columns, and each element is equal to 4. Okay, so let me show you just again. Here in the next script, the element is 4, and number of rows is 3, and number of column is equal to 5. So you can see in the console, we have a matrix having 3 row 5 and 5 column, and each element is equal to 4. Now how to create diagonal matrix in RStudio? So this is again a very simple command. The command is dag, D-I-A-G. So I want to create a diagonal matrix X where each diagonal element is 2 and number of rows is equal to 4 and number of columns is equal to 4. So command is dag in open parentheses, the diagonal element value, then followed by number of rows, then number of columns. So let me show you. As you can see in console, we have a 4 by 4 matrix and its diagonal element is equal to 2. Now let me create a diagonal matrix which diagonal element will vary from 1 to 5. Okay, like first diagonal element will be 1, then 2, then 3, 4, and then 5. So command is again very simple. So the command is dag, and in open parentheses 1 followed by colon, then 5. Okay, so basically 1 to 5. Let me show you. In console you can see now we have a matrix having 5 into 5, and the diagonal elements are 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, by default you can see uh, the headers of column and rows are 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, but if you want to rename the headers of row and column, then there is a very simple command. I'll show you. So let me first create a matrix X having 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, now how to put names for the rows and column. So very simple command, row name, then the matrix. For now we are naming matrix A rows and column, so row names followed by the matrix, then arrow sign, less than sign, then minus, then C, then the first row name, then second row name, then third row name. Okay, it's very simple. Let me show you. As you can see in the console, now your rows name are row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay. Similarly for columns name, the command is call names in parentheses your matrix name X, the less than sign minus, then C, in open parentheses the columns name. Okay. So our matrix X is having 3 row 3 columns, so we can only put 3 column name or 3 rows name. Okay. So let me show you now our matrix X, and we successfully named their column names and row names. Okay, now let me show you how to do indexing in matrix. The command is very simple. Now how to access element of matrix using indexing. So let me show you. If I want to access element from first row and second column, then command is x, then in bracket 1 comma 2. So basically 1 stands for row and 2 stands for the column, so it will access the element from first row and second column. So as you can see, the element in first row and second column in console is 4, this one. So when I hit enter, it will give you 4. And what if you want to access all the elements from first row? Then the command is very simple. You don't need to write the column name, only write the row name. Okay, row number. So let me hit enter. You can see it gave you 147 all elements from the first row. Similarly, for if you want to access a particular column, then just enter that column number and leave the row number empty. You get 789. Okay, and going to the next, eliminating a row or column from a matrix. Very simple. Just put a minus sign with that column name or row name. It will eliminate that row or column from that matrix. As you can see, I kept minus sign in front of 2, so it will remove the second row from my matrix X. So the matrix X is, you can see here, it's 1 to 9. So second row is second row contains value 2, 5 and 8. Okay, so let me just hit enter. As you can see, my row containing 2, 5, 8 is gone. Okay, and if you want to remove any column from matrix, then again same thing, but the minus sign will be kept in front of that column number. As you can see, our third column is gone. Okay, now how to change any cell value? The cell value of second row and second column is 5. Now let me change this value to 111. So okay, we put this value index is equal to 111. Now let me show you the matrix X. As you can see, the second row, second column value, cell value 5 is now changed to 111. Okay. Now let me show you how to perform basic mathematical operation in RStudio. So very simple. Let me first create two matrices A and B. So as you can see, I just created two matrices A and B. Let me show you the matrix A. As you can see in my console, matrix A, uh, and let me show you matrix B that we just created. Okay, so both are same matrix A and B. And now let me show you some basic mathematical operations. So let me show you the addition of my two matrices. Very simple command. Just type A plus B. So as you can see, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So it will give you the summation of two matrices where addition happened element wise. Okay, to show you subtraction, as we know, the matrix A and B both are same. So when we subtract a matrix A from B, it will give you a matrix where each element value will be equal to 0. That's it. You can see a minus b over here in console. Now let me show you the multiplication. If you enter a followed by asterisk into b, that will give you element wise multiplication for two matrices. So a into b will give you 1 into 1. So then 2 into 2 is equal to 4, 3 into 3 is equal to 9. As you can see over here, this is a multiplication of b. But if you want to know what is the matrix multiplication, then there's a command a percentage, then asterisk sign, then again percentage, then b. It will give you the matrix multiplication. Let me show you. Okay, so this is the matrix multiplication of two matrices A and B. Create a matrix where each element is division of two matrices. Then there is a very simple command A followed by uh, forward slash, then B. So basically A divided by B. It will give you element by division. Let me show you quickly. As we know, both matrices are same, so when they are divided by each other, they will give 1. Okay. If you want to calculate the transpose of any matrix, then with simple command T in parentheses that matrix, then close parentheses. Okay. And if you want to calculate inverse of any matrix, if it is existing, then this command just type solve in parentheses that matrix. Oops, we got an error because our matrix A, the inverse is not existing for our matrix A. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate the sum of row element of matrix, then very simple command row sum. The command is row sum. To calculate sum column wise, command is column sum. If you want to calculate mean row wise, the command is row means. Similarly, col means. Okay, let me show you. First, let me create the console by Control L. Okay, let me clear my environment by clicking this broom over here. Okay, perfect. So now just so this is our matrix A. Now I want to know what is the summation along rows. That means the row sums. It will give you 6, 15, 24. As you can see, summation of row element 1, 2, 3 is 6, 5 plus 4, 9 plus 6, 15, and 8 plus 7, 15 plus 9, 24. Okay, so 6, 15, 24. In order to get summation along columns, the command is col sums. It will give you summation along column. Then in order to calculate mean, again rows, row means, then col means. Okay, so that's it. Okay, now let me tell you how to use different libraries. Libraries are very handy while you're working on data. They will save a lot of time. Let me show you how. So right now I will use a library called dplyr, and the data set I will use is called hflight. So basically it is a flight data from 2011 and a very popular data set. So in order to use the data set, first I need to install it. So the command is install.package, in parentheses the dataset name, that is hflights. Let me run this, click yes. So now it is installed, and if you want to see the installed package inside your RStudio, so very simple command to check that is installed.package. So right now my system is a little bit slow. Okay, as you can see, these are different data sets available in RStudio. And in order to install the package, the command is first of all library, and in parentheses the package name, that is dplyr right now. So then load the data set, the rest flight. The command is data, and if you want to see the headers of H flights, then the command is head in parentheses the H flights. Let me show you. So the dataset H flights contained variable multiple variables like year, month, date of month, day of week, departure time, arrival time, unique carrier name, the flight number, tail number, actual elapsed time, its air time, origin. So as you can see, this is the flight data of 2011. Okay, now in order to use this data H flights, first of all we need to convert it to local data set. So how to use that? The command is tvl underscore df. So we'll convert our dataset H flights into the flight that is the local dataset using command tvl underscore df. So difference between the local dataset and the H flight dataset is that it is it's much cleaner to view. Okay, let me show you. If I type the flight now, as you can see, this the flight is our local dataset. So it contains 2,000 2,27,496 rows, and number of variables is 21. It will give you a nice overview of what is inside the data set, and it will show you some of the headers with the row values that will fit inside the tile of console. So it's much nicer to view. That's why we use the local data set. Now if you want to print a specific number of rows, then the command is print in parentheses the dataset name, that in our case that is the flights, and the number of row you want to print. So suppose I want to print 20 number of rows of my flight dataset. So let me print that. So as you can see, we have now 20 rows of our dataset flights. Okay, if you want to check the all headers inside a dataset, then the command is data.frame in parentheses the head in parentheses flights. It will show you all the headers available in your dataset. Okay, now there are some verb in libraries deployer like filter, select, summarize. They are very handy. Let me show you how to use filter, select, and summarize. So first of all, filter command used to keep rows with matching criteria. Like if you want to uh, select rows of the variable airtime where the airtime is greater than 40, then you need to use the filter command. So filter in parentheses the dataset name, that is flights, and if you want to check the airtime of second month where airtime is greater than 40, so the criteria one will be month, so month is equal to 2, and then followed by the another criteria that is airtime that should be greater than 40. So as you can see, the month is February, and the airtime is as you can see over here in this row, airtime is greater than 40. Okay, so as you can see, it keeps rows with matching criteria, and if you want to select columns by their name, then the command is select. Okay, so I want to choose departure time, arrival time, and flight number variables from the dataset flights. So we use the command select followed by the dataset name, that is flights, followed by the variables that we want to pick from flights, that is departure time, then arrival time, and the flight number. Okay, so let me use the control enter. So we have departure time, arrival time, and the flight number from the flights dataset. Okay, and if you want to look for any specific keywords that is inside your variable name, then the command is contains. So I want to check whether there is a taxi or delay keyword inside my variable name of a flights dataset. So we will use the command select, then in parentheses the dataset name, that is flights. Then I'm checking for column named years, and I will check till the column named days of month, and I will look for I will look for the keyword taxi and delay. Okay, it's very fairly simple. It's fairly simple. So let me use Control Enter. As you can see, we have departure delay because delay is inside, and the delay keyword is inside the departure delay variable name. Then arrival delay, then taxi out, then taxi in. Okay. So there is another very important thing inside the deep lab, inside our studio. You can use the chaining. So if we want to select the number of rows, not number of rows. If you want to know the rows containing departure delay greater than 60. Okay, so first you need to select your data set. So we are using currently using flight data set. So flights followed by percentage sign, then greater than sign, then percentage. So basically this percentage greater than sign and percentage will lead to you another line that is called piping, or it also means the then. So first of all it will select the dataset flights. It means then select unique carrier and departure delay. So from the dataset flights it will select the departure delay and unique carrier. Then again it will filter the filter flight and the unique carrier and departure delay depending upon the departure delay greater than 60. So let me run this. As you can see, we have two variables, see the unique carrier name and departure delay, and we have rows where the departure delay is greater than 60. Okay, so this is the way of using the piping. And we have another function in RStudio called arrange. By default, the arrange will arrange uh, variables in ascending order. I will show you how. If I want to arrange the unique carrier with departure delay in ascending order, so first of all we will select our data set, that is flights. Then we will use this again, this then command. Then select the unique carrier and departure delay, and then it will arrange according to the departure delay. Okay, so let me show you. So we have unique carrier because we selected only unique carrier and departure delay, and we arranged according to our departure delay. So you can see it is varying from 33, 23, minus 19, minus 19, minus 18. So this is in ascending order. Okay. And if you want to arrange variable in rows, sorry, if you want to arrange your rows according to descending order, then just add one more command, that is descend, DESC. It will arrange that variable rows into descending order. Let me show you. As you can see, the maximum delay is 981, then 970. So this is another way. Now there is another very important command inside dplyr package, that is mutate. So mutate basically adds a new variable, okay, into the data sets. Like I want to create a new variable called speed. As we know, speed depends upon distance and time. So let me show you that. So first of all, let me select the data set, that is flights. Then select distance and airtime, because because to generate a speed we need distance and airtime. And then mutate command. Mutate command will add one new variable, and that variable name is speed, our new variable name, and distance is equal to distance by time. That is our function. And one more thing is when you use mutate command, it won't add any new variable. Okay, it just creates for a moment, and when you use the flight command next, flight data next time, it won't appear. Okay, you won't have the speed variable in the flight data set. So to keep the data, to keep speed variable inside your flight data set, you need to add that data set to the existing local data set, the flight data set. Okay, so you can see over here we created this new variable speed, then mutate. Okay, and we pass this new variable speed to the dataset flights. Okay, let me show you first of all here. So you can see first of all our new variable is speed over here. Okay, and to add, now our flight dataset contains a new variable called speed. Okay, I encourage you to use those command in your RStudio to understand how do they work. So please try the following script in your RStudio. They are very simple because we have very limited time. So please explore this command in your RStudio.